Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. This is the second news from today's newspaper front page dawn. Prime Minister PM plans a surprise visit to meet Hazara mourners. Appeals for burial of slain miners. Balochistan Chief Minister. Two federal cabinet members talks with protesters yield no result. By Amr Wasim and Aslim Shahid, Islamabad Quetta made escalating criticism in the country and on the advice of several senior cabinet members. The Prime Minister Imran Khan has decided to visit Quetta soon to express solidarity with the members of the Shia Hazara community who have been protesting in Quetta for the last 4 days, along with the bodies of the coal miners killed in Sunday's protest attack. In the Mach area, Dawn has learned through sources. Mariam to visit Hazaras today, page 2. Hazara protest, editorial on page 6. Prime Minister Sahib, go to Quetta, demands Sindh. Assembly, page 13. The date and time of the Prime Minister's visit are being kept secret due to security concern. But he, the Prime Minister, will pay a surprise visit very soon, said a senior member of the federal cabinet while talking to Dawn on Wednesday, hours after the Prime Minister appealed to the protesters to bury the bodies of the miners, promising that he would visit them very soon. The minister, who is privy to behind the scenes developments, and that had taken place after the gruesome murder of 11 miners, claimed that a number of cabinet members, including Interior Minister Sheikh Rashid Ahmed, had suggested to the Prime Minister during the cabinet meeting on Tuesday that he should undertake a visit to Quetta to pacify the mourners. Asked why the Prime Minister had not visited the city so far, he said it was simply because of security concerns. Moreover, the minister said that Mr. Khan was of the view that his visit on the protesters' demand could set a new precedent, and if a terror attack took place tomorrow in any part of the country, then the people would make a similar demand that they wanted to see the Prime Minister before burying the victims. Mourners continue protest despite extremely harsh weather as mercury dropped into below freezing point. The mourners, including women and children, have refused to leave the Western Bypass area close to Hazara town in Quetta as their protest entered the fourth day on Wednesday. The day-long efforts of Federal Minister for Maritime Affairs Ali Zedi, Special Assistant to the Prime Minister, SCPM, on Overseas Pakistanis Sulki Bukhari, and Balochistan Chief Minister Jam Kamal Aliani to persuade the protesters to bury the bodies of the slain miners proved futile as the protesters refused to do so without having a meeting with the Prime Minister. The two members of the federal cabinet had arrived in Quetta on Tuesday a night after the protesters had rejected a similar call by Sheikh Rashid, who had visited Quetta on Monday. I want to reassure the Hazara families who lost their loved ones in a brutal terrorist attack in March that I am cognizant of their suffering and their demands, the Prime Minister said on Twitter, adding that the government has was taking the steps to prevent such attacks in future, and no our neighbor is instigating this sectarian terrorism. I share your pain and have come to you before also to stand with you in your time of suffering. I will come again very soon to offer prayers and condole with all the families personally, the Prime Minister said while addressing the mourning Hazaras. I will never betray my people's trust. Please bury your loved ones so their souls find peace, Mr. Khan appealed to the protesters. Earlier in the day, a 90-second video clip showing Special Assistant to Prime Minister SAPM Zulfikar Bukhari talking to some Hazara protesters in Quetta went viral on social media and received widespread criticism. He was shown asking the protesters to what responsibility would they be taking when the Prime Minister would visit them. We say that we will bring him, the Prime Minister, he will come soon. We have promised with you, Mr. Bukhari said. God forbid, if tomorrow another incident takes place somewhere in Pakistan, and then the people will say, we want this and we don't want this. If tomorrow someone else gets martyred, he will say, we want this and don't want this, Mr. Bukhari said to the protesters in the clip. Later, talking to Dawn, Mr. Bukhari said, the context of the conversation was different, and this clip shows it out of context. The Special Assistant to Prime Minister, SAPM, expressed the hope that they would resolve the matter by Thursday morning. He said that he had held negotiations with the protesters and told them that the government was ready to talk with them on their demands. He said that he had suggested to the protesters to hold talks with them and the Prime Minister would visit them when they would reach an agreement. On the other hand, Syed Agha Raza of the Majlis-e Wahdatul Muslimin told the Balochistan Chief Minister and the two federal ministers that they would not bury the bodies until arrival of the Prime Minister in Quetta. The Chief Minister visited the sit-in side and the Imam Barga and the Imam Barga in Hazara town and assured the mourners that he would take steps to ensure arrest of the terrorists involved in the incident and bring them to justice. The Chief Minister expressed grief over the tragic incident and asked the mourners not to link the burial of the bodies of the coal miners with the Prime Minister's visit. I take responsibility for the Prime Minister's visit to Quetta to listen to your grievances and assure you that the federal and provincial governments will take joint steps to resolve the issues, Mr. Aliani said. He said the enemies of the stability in Balochistan did not like peace and order in the province and has conspiracies to destabilize the situation. He said Balochistan had been burning for the past 10 years, but now the situation had improved in the province to a great extent. We do not want to return back to the earlier situation and would take coordinated measures to surpass law and order disturbing elements, including the ISIS, he added. Mr. Aliani said he was abroad when the tragic incident took place. He apologized over the delay in returning to Quetta as he was required to undergo a coronavirus test before traveling. The chief minister said the law enforcement agencies were taking all steps to prevent terrorism, and it had resulted in reducing the terrorist attacks in the province. He said after the 18th Amendment, many matters came under the purview of the provincial government, and even after the Prime Minister's visit to Quetta, the problems had to be resolved by the provincial government. He, the Prime Minister, will definitely come. The President will come. Ministers and parliamentarians will come. But even if the Prime Minister comes, we have to solve our problems ourselves, he said. Suspending someone is not the solution to the problem, the Chief Minister said. Mr. Aliani said that as Muslims, we have our religious responsibilities to bury the deceased, and these should be fulfilled. I would request the community to not associate it with some official's visit, he added. Speaking on the occasion, Mr. Zedi said, the protesters' demands were valid, but please do not associate the burial with the Prime Minister's visit. The external enemies of Pakistan commit such acts in Pakistan. What is certain is that we find Mir Sadiqs and Mir Jafars among us, he said, adding that he could present proof of foreign interference in the country and recalling that Indian spy Kulbhushan Yadav was arrested from Balochistan. Protests over the March tragedy also continued in other parts of the country, including Islamabad and Karachi. Very sad news. I am feeling very depressed and sad over this. May God bless the departed souls with peace, and say, may the hearts of the bereaved families find peace at home. May God bless us all. Okay, in the end, the formal request, if you have not yet, please subscribe our channel and press the bell button to get fresh from us. Thank you very much for watching. Have a nice time and goodbye.